Kyle Richards reflects on her Ireland trip with Morgan Wade. Kyle Richards is a big fan of the Emerald Isle. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member visited Ireland back in March in support of Morgan Wade's international concert tour. The European trek eventually took the besties to Dublin, where they enjoyed some Irish snacks and a quick stop at a proper Grand Canal Street pub. Greetings from Ireland, Kyle captioned a funny photo of her holding a bag of hunky-dory chips. If you know, you know. What left Kyle Richards surprised during her time in Ireland? Kyle reflected on the Ireland stop in her May 29 briefing on Bravo Stream, saying she enjoyed the experience but didn't get enough of the country. The trip to Ireland was great, she told viewers. The people were so nice, and it was beautiful. I wish I could have seen more of Ireland. Kyle then touched on her visit to the Storyteller pub, where she and Morgan snapped a photo with the co-owner Jack Brennan. I did go into a pub and have a non-alcoholic beer, which I was actually surprised they had those, she continued. Anyways, it was really fun. And that pub was poppin' off, let me tell you. Kyle Richards reflects on her European getaway with Morgan Wade. Kyle's European trip included stops in Amsterdam, London, Manchester, and Glasgow, where she did some sightseeing and feasted on traditional dishes. After documenting the getaway on Instagram, the Beverly Hills mom shed more light on her experience in an April 8 briefing on Bravo Stream. Europe was great. I always love Paris. I love Amsterdam. I love London, she told viewers. I had not been to Manchester or Scotland or Dublin before, and everybody was so nice. They were all great. Such a different feeling in each place. Morgan Wade announces her 2025 album. Morgan concluded her European tour on March 30 at the O2 Academy Glasgow. Nearly 2 months later, the country music singer announced the follow-up to her 2024 album, Obsessed. Morgan's latest effort is titled The Party Is Over, Recovered, and is set to drop on August 1. The Virginia native said the project would include new tracks as well as older cuts that she pulled from the vault. A lot of you have been here for a long time listening and supporting me, Morgan captioned the May 28 album announcement. That means some of you were here before I ever put out my debut record. You heard songs that were demos and early recordings that no longer exist. I wanted to put these songs back into the world and give them life again. Showcase that chapter of my life, and throw in some new songs too. While these songs might be new to a lot of you, they are old friends to some of you, definitely old friends to me. Hope you enjoy and thanks for everything. Kyle Richards reflects on her Ireland trip with Morgan Wade, a whirlwind of music, friendship, and Celtic charm. The crisp Dublin air carried with it a sense of calm Kyle Richards hadn't felt in months. As she stepped onto the cobblestone street outside the Storyteller pub on Grand Canal Street, she took a deep breath, absorbing the chill and the unmistakable scent of peat smoke drifting from nearby chimneys. It was her first time in Ireland, and though the stop had only been a brief leg on Morgan Wade's international concert tour, it had left an indelible impression on her heart. This trip has been a lot of things, Kyle said during her briefing on Bravo livestream on May 29. But Ireland? Ireland surprised me. The people, the pubs, even the chips. It just felt warm. Arrival in the Emerald Isle. It was late March when Kyle landed in Dublin, flying in from a stormy night in Glasgow after Morgan's emotionally charged set at the O2 Academy. The final show of the tour was behind them. And with the adrenaline still fading, Kyle and Morgan decided to slow things down for a day or two in Ireland. They were welcomed by a misty morning and a driver named Fergus who greeted them at Dublin Airport with a shamrock green placard that read Wade/Richards. Kyle, still adjusting to the gray skies and brisk winds, pulled her oversized puffer tighter around her as she slid into the back of the town car. I couldn't stop staring out the window, she recalled. It's like every corner of Ireland tells a story. I was jet-lagged and still found myself wide-eyed like a little kid. Chips and chats, Kyle's snack discovery. One of Kyle's first cultural moments came in the form of a crinkly bag of hunky-dories. I was starving and just popped into a little shop, she said with a laugh. I grabbed this bright bag of chips, or crisps, I guess I should say, and holy moly, they were so good. The moment made its way to her Instagram stories almost instantly. In a snapshot, Kyle stood outside a tiny newsagent, holding the bag of hunky-dory's buffalo flavor with an exaggerated expression of glee. Greetings from Ireland, the caption read, followed by a shamrock emoji and the phrase, "If you know, you know." I didn't know then, but I do now, she joked. Ireland has snack game. A stop at the Storyteller pub. As evening settled in, Morgan suggested they pop into a pub, just to say we did, she said. Kyle, ever the Californian, was hesitant at first. I haven't been drinking, she shared with fans, so I figured there wouldn't be anything for me. But then, boom, non-alcoholic beer on the menu. The Storyteller pub was buzzing when they arrived. The pub's low ceilings, walls covered in old framed tales and poems, and a subtle hum of fiddles in the background created an ambience Kyle called utterly magical. The two women were recognized almost immediately, though the locals played it cool. Everyone was so chill, just so gracious, Kyle said. They'd give us a nod or a smile, but didn't swarm us. I appreciated that more than I can explain. Inside, they were introduced to Jack Brennan, one of the pub's co-owners. Kyle and Morgan took a photo with him, all three grinning beside the bar under a plaque that read, "Every pint has a story." That place was poppin' off, Kyle said with a laugh. Live music, people singing, talking, laughing, the kind of energy you bottle up and try to keep forever. Beyond Dublin, a taste of the countryside. Although the itinerary had been packed, Kyle managed to sneak in a brief countryside drive just outside of Dublin. With Morgan catching up on sleep, Kyle took a solo morning excursion with a local tour guide named Eoif, who drove her through the Wicklow Mountains. There were sheep just everywhere, Kyle said during her live stream. I felt like I was on the set of some sweeping historical drama. She snapped pictures of stone walls and moody green hills, some of which made their way to her Instagram carousel, captioned, "The real magic of Ireland isn't in the landmarks, it's in the air." The bond with Morgan Wade. Throughout the trip, the bond between Kyle and Morgan was unmistakable. Whether they were sipping tea at a London cafe or ducking into vintage shops in Amsterdam, the two exuded the ease and depth of longtime friendship. When asked about traveling with Morgan, Kyle lit up. "She's a dream to travel with," she said. "Low maintenance, funny, deep. We've been through a lot together, and there's something about traveling, especially internationally, that shows you who someone really is." Their shared love of music, adventure, and thoughtful conversations had been the foundation of their connection from the beginning. But during the European leg of Morgan's tour, Kyle said their friendship deepened in unexpected ways. "We had long talks on buses, whispered about life stuff in hotel hallways, and laughed over the dumbest things," Kyle said. "You don't get that kind of connection every day." A European tapestry. Ireland was just one stop on what Kyle called a journey I'll never forget. Prior to Dublin, she and Morgan had visited Amsterdam, where Kyle marveled at the tulip markets and wandered through the Van Gogh Museum. Amsterdam felt like a dream, she said. The canals, the art, the people, I just wanted to bottle the vibe and bring it back to Beverly Hills. From there, it was off to London, where Morgan played a sold-out show and Kyle got to catch up with a few longtime friends, including a surprise dinner with Lisa Vanderpump, who happened to be in town. "It was totally unplanned," Kyle said. "We ran into each other and ended up chatting for hours. Life is funny like that." Manchester and Glasgow were next, both cities she'd never visited before. And though she admitted feeling slightly out of place in the beginning, the energy of the fans and the warmth of the locals quickly made her feel at home. Scotland was cold, But the people were so warm, she said. They made it worth every chill. Looking back with gratitude, Kyle's reflection on the trip wasn't just about destinations and meals, it was about perspective. I think sometimes when you're caught up in the whirlwind of filming and life back home, you forget how big the world is, she said. This trip reminded me that there's so much more out there, and that I want to keep exploring it. She spoke fondly of the moments that didn't make social media: quiet breakfasts in hotel lobbies, handwritten notes from fans left at Morgan's dressing rooms, and the unexpected emotional weight of watching her friend pour her heart out on stage night after night. She's a powerhouse, Kyle said of Morgan. Every show she gave everything, and I was just so proud to be a part of that chapter. Morgan's musical news, a full circle moment. Just days before Kyle's May 29 livestream, Morgan Wade announced her upcoming album, The Party Is Over, Recovered, a deeply personal project filled with new and old songs, many from before she found fame. A lot of you were here before I ever put out my debut record, Morgan wrote in her album announcement. You heard songs that were demos and early recordings that no longer exist.